Welcome back to the studio, indeed, on the panel where we just witnessed the last game, NiP victorious against Alliance. And I think, Sayura, you were the only one who actually had it right there.
Woo! Go NiP.
Were you confident the whole way through?
Well, after seeing that triple kill for Era in the top lane, I got pretty confident for sure. I was really nervous when they let the Bat Rider through, but it seems like the secret was kind of the Wisp. You take out the global heroes like Furion and Wisp, and the Bat Rider just doesn't feel nearly as scary when he doesn't have the backup. I like their understanding of Lone Druid as well. Like in the bottom lane, I think Andy pointed it out, he had a 3 CS at like 10 minutes or something like that. It wasn't great. But what they did was the bear died and they immediately rotated to punish that. So they killed him again. And all of a sudden he's like without a bear in the lane, Midas on cooldown.
I remember he had like a 7-minute Midas. And Shane, you looked at me.
Would you think a Lone Druid would work? Because was this on the Lone Druid that they didn't get started up in time, or was this just Era actually getting too much farm?
First of all, like Era getting that triple kill, then Alliance completely abandoning their plan to go offensive tri lane. That kind of just skewed their whole game plan. Like they had, S4 had to go to the jungle, which was fine. You know, he stacks a few jungle camps. He still got a really nice blink timing, but then you have the disruptor, you have the clockwork, just to completely take the game in their way. You know what I mean? So it was kind of tough for them. Yeah, Disruptor is also the perfect hero when you get that far ahead early. And as we've talked about, plays like that hero looks so much more incredible when you're ahead, and just allowed them to really snowball out of control.
I think it wasn't on the Lone Druid hero, it was on the Lone Druid pick.
Okay.
Because going into the end, you had how many ways to control the Ember, right? You had Lasso, which you need a blink for. You had Tusk Punch, which he didn't have a blink for. And then you had LSA, which are not very reliable. So remember in game 1, they had a Doom. That was the ultimate counter. So I felt like they needed something more reliable. And with that, I think their next play will show why that is a problem when you don't have enough stuns.
Okay, well then it's time to be illuminated by a luminous analysis.
All right, to set the stage for this fight, it's where after Era got a couple kills in the river, he's sufficiently pretty fat, he's got some big items, and this is, to me, the turning point of the game. So let's quickly dive into the replay. It's a big fight in the Radiant jungle. So S4 does his S4 thing, right? He jumps on Limp, and I think the Radiant plan is to kill him as quickly as possible. So can we pause the fight right here? So, no pause?
Pause.
Pause. Scriff. All right, can we rewind back and pause? Like rewind back like a second.
No mercy for Scriff, nice.
Scriff, please, do your job.
Jesus.
Oh,
harsh.
Hey.
All right, so a great lasso, but you can see that here in the middle, Hanskin is gonna throw a static storm. Honestly, it didn't look like a great static storm, except it hit everybody at the corner. So like,
Ake,
yeah, the most important thing is Ake, because sure you get the lasso onto Limp, but how are you actually gonna kill him? Ake was actually the huge part of the damage output. And
especially when PA is in the top lane.
Yeah, PA is not joining the fight, and neither is Ember. I don't think Ember is...
No, Ember's farming, and he's at the...
Yeah, Ember is also on the way, so both your cores is not here. So Ake is actually the second most important hero after Bulldog. So I want you guys to look at how the fight broke out after this, right? The Static Storm will go off. Scruff.
Alright, he's done with us.
Yeah, he's just doing it on purpose.
He's probably trying to do overlays.
So Ake, basically in this fight, he gets silenced just for that momentary second. Also, Minets went on the Disruptor after casting his spells. Ake was neutraling right there. And then he gets hooked by Johannes fan. And then he basically dies without casting any of spell. Look at his mana pool, absolutely full.
He tried to get in range to do the light strike or the Laguna Blade, but he actually walked like barely into the Disruptor again. But Limp would have died if it wasn't for that.
Right, so both of the carries joins this fight right now. Right now, Era recognized he's actually immortal because there's no more stuns left. Half of the Alliance team runs back, and then half the Alliance teams decide to fight. So I felt like there was a little bit of miscommunication. And Limp didn't even die, despite being initiated upon. So I felt like it was a lot of picnic moment. That Static Storm was on top, and once they lost Alina, they just couldn't take the fight anymore.
And Limp's positioning on the corner of the Static Storm, so Lina had to walk into it to actually... Like,
that storm was fight winning.
For this situation in the game as well, Alliance smoked up, of course, and they did it because they knew they were behind. They were going to go for a pick-off because they know that they can't fight head-on. And then they find the enemy team also smoked up, and they actually end up fighting head-on, the thing that they tried to avoid.
Normally, Bat wins that engagement. because you get the initiation. And he got the initiation, but they couldn't finish. If you can't finish your food, you just...
And it's especially important because Limp is the mech carrier there. So if they could have just had a clean...
You have to finish your food.
If you can't finish your food, then what happens?
Don't buy it.
Then you don't get more food. You're punished.
I don't
know where I was going.
But if that's a clean lasso into Laguna, you kill a Shadow Fiend, you take the mech out of the fight. But instead, the Static Storm breaks it up. He's also the mech carrier. So
he mech'd up. And then
he mechs up. The whole fight is just a disaster from there.
And for me, the hero that made it all possible, or rather the player that made it all possible, was Hanskin on this Disruptor. And we have the chance to talk to him again, like yesterday actually. So let's welcome in Hanskin for a winner's interview. Good evening, Hanskin. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks.
Congratulations on your game just now. I have a question. Disruptor, you play amazingly well. You play him a lot as well. You're actually one of the few teams that prioritizes Disruptor as highly as you do. And I was curious, why haven't other teams picked up on that hero yet? Because he seems to be an absolute game changer, especially in your hands.
I mean, we haven't really played a lot either this season. We played a lot before this spring, especially. And we played it today, of course. I don't know. It's kind of a weird hero in that sense. Like it has pretty funky abilities, if you want to say that. Like it's kind of like a Meepo in a sense, but not in the same extreme. But I don't know. People just are just not willing to practice it, I guess. And I'm not really sure because I think it's amazing.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The question I want to ask is about game one. Basically, the Batrider kind of decimated you guys. But did you think the main problem was the combination with Batrider and Wisp? Like, is that why you banned it out first? And not the Lich at all, do you know what I mean? Like, the top lane seemed to be a bit of a disaster with the dual lane. Like, what do you think the main problem was?
Yeah, like, we kind of felt that the Lich and the Doom was wrecking us a lot. We actually banned the Doom in the game.
Yeah.
As for the Bat and the Wisp, I guess the Wisp is always strong, no matter what you combine it with. So there's that. And with the Batrider, of course, it has a lot of pick-off potential and stuff like that. Also, we gave Batrider a really good lane. So we weren't really too concerned about giving the Batrider again because we knew what to expect.
Okay.
It was more of a surprise to us with the Lich pick. We're not really used to that, and of course, the Doom is he's crazy strong in lane right now with the buffed Scorched Earth. So we got caught off by that, I guess.
How do you counter the Scorched Earth Doom? Like, is it just, like, we've seen a bit of AA? Like, do you guys have any other ideas?
Yeah, I mean, we picked AA ourselves, so I guess there's that. I'm not sure, honestly. Like, it seems we haven't really tried it enough or like played against it enough so far, but I'm pretty sure like a good trial in will stop a Doom in that way. But in that game, we didn't really have the tools for it.
Mm. So I want to ask about the Alliance versus NiP matchup, the Swedish showdown, as Shiva called it earlier. What's it like playing against Alliance? I imagine you guys scrim pretty often. Is it a bit of a grudge match, or is it kind of fun to play against a team that you guys kind of know pretty well?
Like I think it's a pretty fun matchup. We're both Swedish teams, of course. We actually don't practice against them that much, but we've played them a lot in tournaments recently and in the prior season. I think it's like we're really good friends with them as well. So it's like one of those matchups where you get really pissed after losing to them or like we defeating them, but then we remain friends. Like it's fun. Like on LAN, we always hang out with those guys, and they're nice people. So yeah, you're pissed about losing games, but we're still like friends.
Cool.
Okay, well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. Perhaps until next time again, I believe you're facing a Monkey Business tomorrow for us as well. So perhaps until then, after that series, and have a good evening until then.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you. That, of course, was Hanskin from Ninjas in Pajamas, and that brings this night to an end. Well, means that we have 2 series finished for tonight, and we can take a look at the results and what the standings are right now. So having 4 series played in total, yesterday 2, today 2. Now Ninjas in Pajamas tied with 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun, because both of them were able to get 2 points.
Pretty even, actually. Like, usually at the start we see like one team decimating, and I guess Monkey Freedom Fighters are the ones to do that, by the looks of it.
I was
surprised. I'm very surprised that
me
Monkey
too. Today
Fridays.
they really brought their A game. Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
very amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw someone saying on Reddit yesterday, he looked at the teams that were participating. He's like, okay, I've clearly favored Virtus Pro, but for the rest, I don't really know what's gonna happen with all these teams, and they seem fairly even, and it seems that way from what we've seen so far as well, and that brings to a lot of explosive games, and hopefully we're gonna have some explosive games tomorrow as well. And tomorrow we can take a look at the games we have coming up for you. Then 2 more series, with the first one being Monkey Business taking on Team Empire, followed by another series with Monkey Business, this time against Alliance, and I believe it was NiP, maybe? Was it? I have it written down wrong, perhaps. So maybe it's Alliance, so maybe I just confused
Hanskin was like,
and
what the
I
hell are you talking
confused everybody. But tune back in tomorrow to know for sure. It's going to be 1800 when we're live again, so make sure you're there, and we'll see you all tomorrow.